Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live, also going out all over the place. My name is Adam Biddlecombe, and I've got Matt here, and we are going to be having a conversation with the serial entrepreneur, the legend of Silicon Valley, now with his new venture, MindStudio, Dmitry Shapiro, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. You're going to make me swallow my coffee in the wrong way. Legend of Silicon Valley. Plus, I live in Southern California. So even though I did work at Google for 4 years and I was in Silicon Valley, um, I don't think there's any legends about me there yet.
Well, to us, 100 miles away in the UK, it's all the same. You're leading this tech company out there in the States.
Fair enough.
So we'll put you in that category.
Fair enough. Yeah, good to see you guys.
It's great to have you. So obviously, me and you, we spoke before a couple of weeks ago. You introduced me to your product. I was super impressed. I've brought along Matt today as our guinea pig, and we're going to see if we can blow his mind just like you blew mine. Matt, are you ready for this?
Yeah, hey everybody. I'm Matt Bill. You might have seen me on LinkedIn. If you're kind enough to read the MindStream newsletter, I'm the one that writes it every day. So if you're not subscribed, get on there and you can hear from me every day.
Amazing. Well, thanks to everyone in the comments. Great to see those flying in. I think it's probably suitable to dive straight in with an introduction from Dmitry. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you're doing now with MindStudio.
All right, cool. I'll use some visuals here for you guys. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. I watched this movie War Games in 1984 when I was 14 years old and got into computers then and started writing code and have been doing it since then. Now I'm CEO of this UAI MindStudio. Prior to this, I spent 4 years at Google on the main campus on the product side. I was CTO of MySpace Music, for those of you that are old enough to remember MySpace. And then before that, I built 2 other venture-backed companies. One was a major competitor to YouTube called VO Networks that I raised $70 million for, 70. And another one was a enterprise software cybersecurity company called Iconic Systems that I raised $34 million for. So I'm a techie. These days, I describe myself as an old nerd. Yeah. And then just maybe a little bit about us, the company. So we're venture backed. We've raised $36 million from lots of people here, a number of venture capital funds, family offices, and dozens, as you can see, of angel investors. A bunch of these angel investors are legends in Silicon Valley, and like Richard Gingras, who runs Google News, and Scott Kernet, who was the founder of About.com. Shamrit runs as a VP of Google Photos. Shiva Radraman was at Google, was at Apple, was at Meta as a VP. So many people. Michael Eisner, the former head of Disney. So our investors are radically more interesting, than I am on these things, and deserve credit here. Yeah.
Some great names to have, for sure.
It's an incredible list.
So, Dmitry, how long has UAI and MindStudio been going? And just to clarify, UAI is the company, MindStudio is a product. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So we've been working on it for around 9 months now. We launched MindStudio in August, so 3 months ago. So it's relatively new. But there are already over 40,000 prompt engineers that are registered on our system. Here, I can show you like some of our charts here. The screenshot is a bit old here, so it needs to be updated, but still. And then, they've created now thousands of AIs that we call them, right? So these AI-powered applications that you can create with MindStudio. But just start. Yeah.
That's quite a curve. And what was it how did this idea come to you?
Yeah, so I started working in machine learning in May of 2012 when I joined Google and was thrown into it. I was thrown into managing these 3, product managing these 3 machine learning teams that were sort of taking all of this data that Google was collecting and trying to make sense of it in order to make its products better, existing products better, and also to be able to launch new products. And so again, I did that for 4 years there. And since then, I've sort of been watching the space and staying current, and got really excited when, just like you guys did, when we saw all of these amazing generative AI models showing up and like what you could do with them. And sort of very quickly, had the realization that, typing prompts into, text boxes and trying to wield the power of all of these, amazing technologies that are only accelerating in their innovation, that this interface doesn't make any sense. And that for humans to really be able to leverage the power of this, there needs to be sort of an abstraction of this. Like, we think these models, whether they're language models or image diffusion models or video models or codecs or whatever, that these belong as back-end services. And we call that the intelligence layer. And that the intelligence layer should be abstracted from regular users by what we call the application layer. And that's what MindStudio lets you do, is build AI-powered applications in this application layer. They leverage these existing models. So we support OpenAI, GPT-3, 3.5, 3.5 Transform, GPT-4, soon Turbo, Claude 1 and 2 from Anthropic, Google Palm 2. We'll support all the major models, right? There's the resource constraint at this time to support more, but many more coming soon. And again, not just language models, image models, video models, all the other models. And then we allow prompt engineers to build very sort of end-user friendly interfaces, applications, to be able to sort of leverage the power of all of these AIs. And we think this is a much better approach to get sort of the majority of people to be able to use AI. Like we, all the people that like really are fascinated by ChatGPT or these other models think that everybody's using them. But that's not even remotely true, right? Like at its peak, ChatGPT had about 100 million users. And that's been shrinking for the last 3 months. You guys can go, those of you watching, go Google that. Not everybody is using ChatGPT. Why? Because using ChatGPT is actually really hard and time consuming and not very sort of efficient. But once you take these prompts and you package them as these AI applications, then it's much more user friendly and many more people can use it.
100%. It's one of the things we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. You kind of called me out a little bit that a lot of my content is these detailed guides in teaching people how to prompt. And the reason that these are successful is because there are so many people struggling with it. But we both agreed that this is not the future of how we are interacting with these systems. If we want to get these out to mass market, people need to be able to speak to this technology like they were speaking to a friend or like they were speaking to someone else. And that is that extra layer that MindStudio is allowing people to build so that they can just put these products out and they just work for people.
Yeah. And not just speak, meaning text or speech is not the right interface for everything. And in fact, for most things, I would submit it's not the right interface. A picture says 1,000 words. And buttons and other types of visual interfaces are much more effective. If we just had to, this is the difference between DOS. I don't know how many people on the call remember this time. I do. I'm old enough to remember it. Like, it used to be, to use a computer, you had to do a lot of typing, and then Windows showed up, and that's when the masses adopted computing. Was when we got Windows and they didn't have to type. And I think we're in the same kind of a moment with this intelligence layer, as I call it, that today we early adopters are rushing to it and leveraging it, and that's amazing. We should. But in order to get the masses in, it has to be radically different than that.
100%, 100%. So you 9 months ago or so, you sort of, this clicked for you. You saw this problem. How have you gone about building this solution that you said came out 3 months ago? So I imagine it took about 6 months to get all of that ready to go.
Yeah, look, we're a tiny team. We're 8 full-time people and 6, part-time people, consultants. But we're a mighty team when it comes to being able to build things. And I'm fortunate that my co-founder, Sean Thielen, who's my co-founder and CTO, he and I met 9 years ago on Hacker News. He was 19 years old and was studying literature at Chapman University with a minor in PR. and was writing some apps in his spare time. And we met, and I quickly realized that he was by far, like infinite stretch, the most talented software developer and software architect that I've ever encountered in my career, having worked with all of these people at Google and all these people at MySpace. And so Sean and Victor and Marco and sort of a bunch of our folks are extraordinarily talented technologists. And yeah, we've been able to stand this thing up and get it running. In fact, yesterday launched another massive feature that we haven't yet promoted, but we can dive into it in a bit, that will allow, that already allows, as of yesterday, any independent software developer to show up and extend the capabilities of MindStudio by building more of those automation blocks that we have. Right? Like one of the capabilities of MindStudio is to be able to do this multi-step workflows. And prior to yesterday, we had to build all of these little components that you could use in those workflows, but we now open that up to any third-party developer to show up and start extending the capabilities of this.
Amazing, fantastic. Okay, Dmitry, I think it's time, if you're willing, to do a little bit of a demo. As I said at the start of this call, to everyone that's watching, I have seen the capabilities. I have played around with them. I have had my mind well and truly blown. But I've brought Matt along with me today as a MindStudio virgin. So it's time to pop that cherry and see what's possible.
Okay, let's do it. Can everybody see my screen?
There it is.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys like the 10-minute demo, and then we'll leave time to chat as well. Okay, so let's quickly go through our homepage because we can use it to sort of understand some stuff. Fastest way to build AI-powered apps, create custom AIs for consumers, small and medium-sized businesses, enterprises, no coding required. There are many different types of apps you can create. People have created already thousands, over 6,000 that are published. You can simply go to this Explore apps. I'll do that in a moment. But if we keep scrolling, you can see a few sort of very important things. The first one, as I was mentioning, is we are model agnostic. So you don't sort of just get to choose whether you like OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or sort of many, many other models that exist. We will support all the major ones. Today, we support 4 OpenAI models, 2 Anthropic models, and Google Palm 2. We also add to all of this, many other technologies that are extremely important in order to be able to build these AI-powered apps. For example, like vector databases, to be able to do, RAG and things like that. Being able to fetch external data, long-term memory, multi-step workflows, so many things. You don't need to write any code to be able to build AIs using MindStudio. In fact, being a developer doesn't really help. The real skill set you need is the ability to use natural language to very clearly sort of specify what you want the AI to do, how you want it to behave, what its constraints are, and tone, and like many other things that are important. But that is all a function of natural language rather than sort of code syntax. Obviously, these large language models already have a lot of knowledge about the world outside, but we make it trivially easy for you to use your own data, right, in the form of anything textual, basically TXT, PDF, CSV, Excel, HTML, many other formats coming shortly as well. You can simply take those, upload them from your desktop, and get them into the model. As soon as they're uploaded, we instantly take them and turn them into vector embeddings, store them in a vector database, and allow you to use that again with any of these models in order to build powerful AIs. Once you've sort of built and tested your AI, you can take it and you can publish it, and it becomes a web application. And so it has a URL. If you want, you can give it a custom domain name. You can embed it in any website. You can send it to people via email or messengers. It's just a link. Because it's a web application, there are already people that are taking these web applications and wrapping them with native wrappers and publishing them to the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. So it's a web application. Anything you can do with it, you can do with this. You can obviously bookmark them on your home screen on your phone and instantly access them there, etc. If you want, We allow you to take your AI and specify that for people to use it, they need to pay you a monthly subscription for doing that. And so we make it trivially easy to turn your AI into a recurring revenue business. There are many people that are doing that, whether they're doing it on individual AIs or they're doing it on collections of AIs. I'll show you here in a second. Let me just pull it up so I don't forget this company, Academic Insights Lab, that's doing this as a bundle. Then we provide analytics and for you to be able to understand how your AIs are functioning and sort of many other things. So it's a really, really powerful, very broad already platform for being able to build, test, deploy, distribute, monetize, analyze these applications. As I mentioned, you can go to explore AIs here, and this is basically, think of this as like a showcase. Again, there's thousands of AIs that are in here. There's a bunch, for example, here for creators, for content and writing, for parenting. There's 20 AIs for parenting. These are really powerful things. Parenting Copilot, right? Not just developers can have their lives sort of dramatically impacted by getting superpowers of being a developer with, you know, these code copilots. Now every job function in every industry can be made better by creating copilots for it. I have 5 kids. Parenting is a very important job. Parenting Copilot is amazing in being able to do that. Or personalized kids bedtime story generator. You give it your kids' names, things they're into, names of their friends, and this thing is just able to generate custom stories for kids. My kids love this.
Amazing.
Teaching and education, business, job seeking, everyday life, coding, anything you can imagine, you can build. This is an AI medic. It will diagnose you. There's also an AI pediatrician. There's an AI veterinarian, yada, yada. And again, you can engage with these things directly here, or you can take all of these things and embed them in websites. And so this thing is already embedded in thousands of websites. And as I mentioned, you can take these, and so this is Academic Insights Lab. This is a consultancy that consults to higher education, you know, universities and PhD students. They are using MindStudio. They've now created over 80 AIs. Each one of these accordions here is an AI. And I'm just going to scroll through this really, really quickly. You know, reverse online generator, research article summarizer, MM method chapter reviewer. I don't know what any of these things do because I'm not in academia, but academics love this, and they sell access to this in these 2 tiers. So for free, you can play with 5 popular AIs. For $9 a month, you get 15 AI tools. And for $59 a month, you get access to all of these tools. When I spoke with Jessica, one of the women that operates this 2 weeks ago, she already had over 60 paying users, primarily faculty, so on this tier, in less than a month since they'd launched these things. And both, you know, Jessica and Kimberly are not technical at all. In fact, we were laughing that now universities are asking them for enterprise pricing for this, where they don't have to pay per faculty member, but enterprise pricing, and they've turned this into a business. And there's a number of these types of things that are happening already. Okay, great. So let's quickly. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can I just jump in and summarize here? You're telling me that somebody with no technical coding ability, just a good use of natural language, can come onto MindStudio, build products, host them, monetize them, and start making money in days, hours?
Hours, yeah.
That's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. Mm-hmm. Loads of people in the comments asking about how this differs from OpenAI's GPTs. We're going to get into that. Don't worry. Dmitry, please carry on. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, maybe I'll stop here for a second. Let's address that because I think this will help people then grok the rest of it better. We'll come back to the demo. You know, for those that don't know, so OpenAI, right, the company that runs ChatGPT, earlier in the week announced a new capability called GPTs. Mm-hmm. And this is the ability for people to show up and sort of take a prompt and package it as a as a thing that they themselves can use or other people can take advantage of and use as well. Right. And so if you've got some great prompt that you've been using, instead of sort of creating long documents PDFs, whatever, and then being able to go and find the right prompt and copy and paste it into ChatGPT, you can simply take a few moments and give it a name and sort of create this little link, basically, that you can then access much more easily and yourself use that prompt, or allow other people to also take advantage of, your knowledge of prompting and use it. And that's great. That totally makes sense. One of the problems that has sort of existed here that we were talking about earlier is this need to always either be typing or doing copying and pasting. That just makes no sense. And so GPTs make ChatGPT better because now you have basically shortcuts to your prompts, and you can share those with others, and other people can benefit from that as well. So they're awesome for users of GPT. You should be using GPTs, check. But they are very, very different from what we're doing with MindStudio.
Yep.
For example, the only people that can use GPTs are people who have ChatGPT accounts and who are logged into ChatGPT. So you can't take a GPT, for example, and embed it in your own website and allow people that know nothing about ChatGPT to just show up and interact with your AI. That's not how it works. The GPTs make ChatGPT better. It's a walled garden, a closed ecosystem, and GPTs make that closed ecosystem operate better. Yeah. We are, in a sense, the open web. We allow you to create these AI-powered applications, these AIs, and sort of do anything you want with them. Use them in your own offerings. Do what I just showed you that Jessica and Kimberly are doing, and package them together and sell access to them. Send them anywhere, not require anyone that's on that receiving end to have a ChatGPT account to understand how to use ChatGPT, log in, none of that stuff. The other huge difference, obviously, or huge differences, are one is that we support all major models and will continue to do that. And GPTs support OpenAI models. Yeah. And that's it, because they just make those models better. If you saw the demo that Sam did, or some of the videos that have been done since then, the builder that they have is this really sort of simplistic thing, nor should it be more complex for what they're trying to do with it, which is it allows you to take this prompt basically and name it and give it some parameters, upload some of your own data, and there it is. We give you what I'm about to show you, an extraordinarily powerful system that allows you to do things that aren't even dreamt of, in a sense, when it comes to sort of the roadmap of GPTs, I'm sure, because it's for very different purposes. So I think that's the thing to remember.
I think what a lot of people are doing when they're sort of comparing the two products is, they sound similar at first point, but essentially I think they're amplifying the capabilities of what GPTs can do, and probably not understanding the full capabilities of what MindStudio can do. And when you actually look at them as products and look into the detail, they're not even in the same ballpark. They're not trying to be. They're not the same thing.
Yeah, they're for very different purposes. Yeah, they're for very different purposes, right? Yeah. Think about it maybe in this way. You can think of ChatGPT. I'll compare it to Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office is a suite of tools that we've all been using for many, many years. Some of us use Google Docs and other things, but those kinds of tools to get things done, right? And so periodically, Microsoft and others release new capabilities for those tools that make those tools better. That's the same thing that's happening right now with ChatGPT and GPTs. ChatGPT is a tool we use to get things done, and GPTs make ChatGPT better, provide new capabilities to it. Check. But what we're doing is radically different. We've built a tool that allows you to build these things, to be able to launch them and monetize them and package them in all kinds of ways. And so for a very, very different purpose. Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of confusion because the new GPTs are being framed as an app store, whereas I don't think that is an accurate description. Whereas what we see with MindStudio is what I would call an app store.
Yeah. So the app store part that I showed you of MindStudio, I mostly refer to it as a showcase. Right? Even though people do come here periodically. And so I'm sharing my screen now. Hopefully people can see that.
2 seconds. I've got to allow it. There we go.
Thank you. And so even though this looks like an app store, and some people indeed do use it as an app store and discover various AIs here in these various categories, that is not what we are building here, meaning we don't sort of really care about this at this moment. The majority of these AIs that people are building are not to be found in our app store, but are to be found, out in the world, inside of other products, discovered via search, etc. Okay, let's use one of these things quickly. Let me just show you some of the interfaces I think that are important here. So I'm just going to choose this social media strategist. And so when you create your AI, again, I use the term AI and apps, AI apps, sort of interchangeably. These AIs can have a landing page. Now, this landing page isn't very rendered. Many of these AIs have much better landing pages. Let me see if maybe I could find one that's a bit better. See, so they can have, videos, and they can have, carousels of images. And so they can be sort of much better than the AI that I was showing you. And then when you first open up the AI, just like when you first install a native app, for example, from an app store, you go through an onboarding wizard, right? Like a personalization set of questions that every app tends to ask you as you configure it. And so we support the same kind of a capability, which is the ability to present the user with any number of interfaces of questions, for example, to help personalize the AI to them. And so this one's got a bunch of these questions that you can answer. And again, you only need to do this once. And then from then on, you simply get to use the AI. And so now we're in sort of this use state. We can always go back to personalization. See, it says edit personalization. We can always go back to these prompts. Now, this doesn't feel like chat, does it? This has sort of a wizard, in this case, of 5 questions that you can answer, and you can go through them. And again, you can create new threads for all of these things. And then at the end of all of this, you get either some output, or you get some output and a chatbot that you can sort of play around with it. So let's do that. Instead of actually using this, again, I wanted to show you this personalization thing and show you these set of questions here, right, that we can go through. I'm just not answering them here. Some of our AIs are remixable. So this is a setting you can set in the editor to allow other people to be able to make a copy of your AI. And this AI, the social media strategist, allows that. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say remix. And so we just made a copy of that AI, and this is our copy. We can do whatever we want with it. For example, on the left-hand side are those personalization prompts, as we call them, that onboarding wizard. We can take any of these things and we can delete them, or we can move them around, or we can add new ones. And so you just say plus new prompt. This is about to change and have actually a lot more capabilities, I think, even later today or tomorrow. But here you can create different types of things, open answer prompts. Again, this is for onboarding, sliders, multiple choice, etc. Okay, on the right-hand side, here's a live terminal. So while you're editing AI, you can chat with it directly. I tend not to use it, so I'm just going to collapse it. So you can collapse these left and right panes here at the bottom right. When I'm building things, if I want to preview it, which I do, I tend to use this preview draft. It just opens it up in a new tab, and I can preview it. In this section, here in the middle section, you see sort of a number of these areas. And so one of them is model settings. And as I mentioned, we are model agnostic. So here's GPT-3, 3.5 Turbo, 3.5 Instruct, Claude 1 and 2, Palm 2, and then GPT-4. And we allow you to tune other parameters like temperature, right? And so again, if you don't know what these things are, you can read about them here, right? Max response sizes. A bunch of people complained that these models, you said, I want a 500-word essay and that only returns 300 words, right? Because that's the default max response size. Well, you can tune that here. Actually, I don't think that GPTs allow you to tune temperature or response sizes for any of that stuff. There's things built in here of what happens if you exceed the context window. So there's a summarizer, there's sort of many other things here. The other thing you get here is the prompt. And again, so this is really the instructions for the AI. And so you can write this and you can edit it here. And you can inject variables in here. So current date, or this variable context, which is all of the things that are coming out of everything that's collected here can be passed into this prompt using this variable called context. In fact, over here are these variables that I talk about that are here. And then there are these things called automations. And so automations are these multi-step workflows that allow you to create logic and sort of multi-step chaining of what's happening with your AI, and you can do it sort of visually, and then you can configure these things. So let's quickly go through this. So again, you hit these little pluses over here and to create these new blocks in this chain. And today there are these four types of boxes. One is collect input, which is some of the ones that we're going to see here. One is send message. There's some of those as well. And then there's this query data. This is the ability to go and query a vector database and return results as part of this chain. And this run function set of blocks that I told you about that we just launched yesterday, which is basically going to be many new types of blocks that you can add here as developers start to fill that in. So if you put in a collect input block, you configure it here on the right-hand side. A collect input block can support different types of input. This one is using text, so it asks the question, what social media platforms do you want to focus on today, right? And so again, the personalization things only happen the first time somebody uses the AI. And then from each use after that, this is the flow that happens. So collect input, what do you want to focus on today? And then it assigns it to a variable called platform. Again, you get to choose what this name is. Then after that, it says, do you want strategic planning for 1 week, bi-weekly, or monthly? Assign it to a variable called planner. Collect more input. Does your company have a tagline or slogan? Assign it to a variable called tagline. And then use a different type of block called send message block that takes these variables that we just created here and basically, puts them into a prompt that can then be passed to a model, whatever model you choose. And then response comes back and it keeps going. And in fact, here, there's two behaviors. The default behavior is display the output to the user. Another behavior is assigned to variable. And so you can assign it to another variable and keep chaining these things around in order to be able to do that. And once you end on this end block, as we call it, this terminator block. And even that has different types of ways that it can end. It can end in a chat session. And so you can chat with this thing. It can also end in what we call revised document. And so this is a full rich text editor. And so it outputs whatever it is that it's outputting. And then right there, it allows you to edit it and also highlight things and then say, revise this and change that. So this kind of an interactive document editor. If you're dealing with data sources that I'm about to show you, we have this thing called Data Source Explorer that allows you to, on the right-hand side, have the AI that you're interacting with, and on the left-hand side, actually show you the PDF or other document that the AI is talking about. And so it shows you the source in real time as you're using it. And then this thing called end session. Okay, so again, this is one AI that, I quickly took you guys through just to show you some of these things here. So onboarding, we learned about onboarding. We learned about writing prompts and being able to use variables in these double curly braces. We learned about these multi-step workflows. There are a lot of things here. Choosing, models. There's some additional parameters here in message rules. So there are things like system introduction. This is the first thing that comes up when a user, after onboarding, loads each session. I tend not to use it, but there are use cases where you should. And then finally, there's this publishing metadata section, and it allows you to give this thing a name and a description, some optional tags, allows you to upload an app icon, a sharing image. So if you share this to Twitter, for example, or Facebook or wherever, that's the image that comes up. Allows you to upload up to 15 images in this preview gallery, allows you to upload a video, customize the landing page, with rich text and all of that, links, etc. And then allows you, again, we've got, this is a priced feature, allows you to embed this. In embedding, allows you to choose pricing. By default, it's free. If you're on the free tier, if you want to monetize, you have to pay for it, and many other things. In fact, here, if we go to explore plans, you can quickly see you can build these AIs completely free of charge, build as many of them as you want. You can have unlimited users and unlimited messages. This has an asterisk next to it. Basically, what this means is it's sort of like all you can eat unlimited, like you get from cellular companies. The vast majority of people should never find the limit, but there is a limit, to prevent abuse and things like that. You can share your AI, send them, etc. You get basic metrics. But if you want to monetize them, if you want to embed them in your own website or your app, if you want to have less branding of ours and have other things like password protection, more advanced analytics, etc., you need to be on a paid tier. If you have, more needs, you can go on this, business tier that gives you full white labeling. We charge less in transaction fees. Here it's 30%, here it's 5%. Let you capture basically the data from users that are using it in the form of asking them questions and capturing that data and being able to get full transcripts of what's happening. Your users will be able to see a little alert saying that the developer of this AI can see, what's happening in these conversations, just to make sure everybody understands privacy. And then you get, sort of better support, enterprise support, developer support, etc. And then we also have an enterprise tier where if you've got something, much bigger or odd, simply contact us and do it. And again, you can preview it and then you can publish it, and all of a sudden you've got an AI. So for those of you, that have played around with GPTs, by now you should understand that this is nothing like GPTs. This is a much more powerful platform here for this. Okay, let's quickly create an AI, and I want to show you another thing here. So when you say new AI over here, first of all, you can watch some tutorials. We've got many more tutorials coming. You can choose a template. I tend to start from blank template for most things I build, but these are awesome, and I'm going to show you this book AI template. And so what does a template have? Well, a template can have sort of configurations. It could have personalization prompts. This one doesn't. It can have these prompts. This one does. It can have automations. This one has no automations, etc. So this one has a prompt over here. And I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger. And so many people are taking books and turning them into conversational agents. And so like a companion to a book, The Art of War. I happen to have a copy of The Art of War, and so I can simply take this and replace it. By the way, in green here, these comments, you can see it gives you instructions how to use this template. Replace anything in bold, and so here I'm going to say Sun Tzu. Upload your book as a data source. Over here are things called data sources. This is the one that's here now. We can delete it as a data source, and then we can create a new data source. We can give it a name, The Art of War. We can optionally give it a description, and then we can upload files. You've got a 50 megabyte limit per file, 500,000 word total limit, 150 files max. So a lot of data you can upload here. I happen to have, I think, a copy of The Art of War. Here it is. And so I can simply take this and say open. And if you look over here, what you see is it's already uploaded it. And now it's chunked it. For those that are technical, it's chunked it, turned them into a bunch of chunks, and then is calling the embedding API for whatever model we're using here, which I think is Claude, and creating vectors of this. And so now we have this data source. And then we can go over here into this area over here and choose that data source as our data source, and then publish this. And instantly we have a conversational thing. We can talk to this book, having done very, very little work in order to be able to do that. And again, this is not something that you could go and do with ChatGPT, GPTs. Like take a book, turn it into vector embeddings, publish it, give it a price, allow people to be able to do it. And so we're seeing, authors, publishers, creating lots of these things, or taking user manuals, for example. All user manuals should be conversational. And you can take them, publish them, give them a QR code, and put it on a fridge. And now anybody can scan it and talk to the fridge and understand what the hell is happening. Why aren't you cooling, damn it? You know. By the way, there's much more. I've given you, I don't know, 20%.
Little taster.
Yeah, a
little
little taster.
Matt, what are you thinking right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a powerful platform. I'm definitely going to jump on this and build some AIs. I'm guessing some people in the chat will as well after that demo. That was pretty clear. So yeah.
I don't know if you can see the comments, Dmitry, but people are absolutely loving this. I think it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around the fact that you can go in and you can spend $29 and you can build these products, embed them, have people paying customers. You know, it's a whole in one situation. It's a whole product in one. Really easy UX and you know, kind of available for anyone to go out and use. And you've built this all in like 9 months. Amazing.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't pay too much attention on how long it took us to build this. We have this like very unique situation of a really exceptional tech team, sort of with most other teams that you could see this would be really hard to to build in anything like this this time frame. Yeah.
Seems like we should focus on the time frame then. Seems like it's an even more impressive point. Amazing. And yeah, you sort of alluded to there, like the fact that these could be used in user manuals, and this is the thing that really kind of caught my attention. I've just come out recently of the electronics industry, and all the buzz in electronics is the ramping up of Internet of Things devices and these tracking devices we have in our phone, and the projections of sort of how many of these devices we're going to have is absolutely crazy. It's like, you know, for each person, we're going to have 10 Internet of Things devices in the world in a number of years. When you consider as an individual, every product you've bought for your house, your fridge, your toaster, every single thing, your bed, everything, all of these come with a user manual. They get stuck on the top of the fridge and then they get thrown out 2 years later. And then the thing breaks and you don't know how to fix it. The future with this technology is going to be scan the QR code on the back. Hello there, I'm your fridge. What's wrong? How can I help you? Take a picture, speak to it, and then you know, the option to fix it is there. And you know, it's hundreds of billions of devices that could be running these AIs, and that's just one use case.
That's right. Yeah, this is you know, people who've been using MindStudio now. Again, there's over 10,000 of these. Sorry, over 40,000 prompt engineers. I got to get my metrics straight. I've talked to a number of them. Some I've had conversations like this with that are available on our YouTube channel. If you guys are curious. And the thing that, you know, always comes back is like, once you learn to use MindStudio, everywhere you look, you see opportunities to be able to make AIs for that. And so we've been saying it's like a hammer. And once you learn to use it, you realize there's like nails everywhere. Yeah. And whether it's for yourself or whether it's to create a business, some people are taking them and doing it for other people, where now they see other people doing their work and saying, oh man, I can take and like blow your mind and transform your life by building an AI for you and gifting it to you. Look what I just built for you in, you know, 5 minutes. It's going to transform your workflow. You never needed to understand anything about AI. You're not technical. You're not into AI, but I just changed your life. Because I can use MindStudio to be able to build these things. It's like so exciting. Like that's the stuff that like I get really excited about is people reporting that, because I too obviously have experienced that. And
yeah, it's the opportunity for the individual. You know, everybody out there who's watching this, who's been dabbling with ChatGPT and other models for the last 6 months, you really have an opportunity to go into this tool, start creating these own products, and you know, in within 2 or 3 weeks, you can be cold calling companies and saying, you know, let me come and build an AI for you, having them done in 10 minutes and making money. Like it's, you know, in the big picture, it's incredibly exciting. At the individual level, this is an opportunity to really make a difference.
Yeah, same thing. People are already reporting that, where once they start using MindStudio and they start publishing these AI apps, people have come to them. They discovered these AI apps and come to them and said, hey, could you build me an app for this other thing that I'm doing? And so they're like, well, what should I do? I'm like, you should build them an app. They're like, should I charge them? I'm like, yes, you should charge them. You are now a developer. You're a new type of a developer. You've got a business. You've learned a skill. You can make money in a number of ways. You can make money by building AIs and selling access to them individually. You can make money by building AIs and selling access to them as bundles. You can make money by building AIs for other people, and they give you a spec and you build them for them. And because it's so sort of efficient, again, once you learn to use it, you can build these things in minutes. You can build amazing things in an hour. You have an incredibly sort of scalable business.
Yeah. And this is really exciting for the individual. But the other thing that must be exciting for you, Dmitry, is, you know, we all sitting here understand the power of this tool, and everybody who goes in there and starts playing about it is going to start building these apps for other people and is going to start talking about it. Like the sort of word of mouth effect you could have of this in terms of your user acquisitions is mind blowing.
Yeah, I just saw somebody, I finally pulled up comments here. I saw somebody say, do you plan having a reseller or affiliate program? Soon. Actually, today we are finalizing that. And so we'll probably announce that in the next week or two. And so, yeah, you'll be able to refer people and make money doing that as well.
Amazing. Dmitry, you should speak to Mark. He was one of the contestants in your hackathon. And yeah, he's a very, very smart guy. He's one of the cleverest out there on LinkedIn. What's coming next? What is the next 6 months looking like for you?
Yeah, so some things I can't announce, so I need to be a bit careful on that. But I'll give you some taste of things that are coming. Many more blocks inside of automations. So radically more capabilities in that multi-step workflow that I showed you, again, because of these functions that we just launched. So basically the ability to integrate with everything, call third-party APIs, process data, do all kinds of stuff. So that's a big one that will create many, many capabilities. We are about to also launch a new type of license for using the system, which is geared towards enterprises. So you'll be able to buy for those people that are in enterprises. Again, today we already have lots of usage inside of enterprises where people have discovered this. And even though we don't have enterprise licensing, they've been as an individual using it inside of their enterprises and teams, and they're asking for capabilities to be able to license it in that way. So that's coming shortly. The support for many more models, including image models, video models, other models, sort of reduction of friction across everything. We're again developing very rapidly, and as we learn more things, it's clear that some interfaces could be better, could be clearer, etc. Many more tutorials, a bunch of these affiliate program things, different ways you can package this. Again, today, if you know what you're doing, you could easily take this and wrap it in a native wrapper, but we'll make it much easier to wrap it in a bunch of different ways. So lots and lots of stuff that will make it more valuable to use. As now, these AI developers, like we're still sort of struggling to find the right term. Do we call the people that use MindStudio developers? Well, you don't have to write any code. Are you still a developer? Yes, you're still a developer. This is the new form of developing. You use natural language, or are they, creators, or are they builders? What are they? So again, these are terms I use a bit interchangeably as we look for better ways of doing.
I feel like builders might be the one. That's the one that stands out to me.
Builders?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I like
By the way, I just saw Joel asked, do you need a developer to use the functions? That's a great question, Joel. You don't need a developer to use the functions, but developers can build new functions that you as a non-developer can simply use. So again, a function is just a block, and then on the right-hand side, it's got that little simple form configuration. And so everything is developers do the hard stuff so that the rest of us don't have to know any code and can just configure these things.
It's a good job I never learned to develop, eh?
It is, yeah, in this case, yeah. I see Jorge asking, can I work in MindStudio in other languages? Yes, you can. So if English is not your native language and you want to write instructions in whatever Portuguese, you can do that. Again, all of these instructions are interpreted by the models. And so you can do that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Dmitry, I want to ask you a personal question. So at the start of this call, I introduced you as a legend of Silicon Valley. You've been at Google, you've been at MySpace, you've raised a lot of money with your other companies. How does this feel? Does it feel different? Do you feel like you're going through the same process again, or do you think you've landed on something really special here?
It's a great question. So this is my third startup as a founder. The first one was the Satonic system, the cybersecurity one. I raised 34 million for that, raised 70 million for VIO, which was a YouTube competitor. And here, we've raised 36 million. So I've done this for about 18 years in total outside of being at Google and MySpace. So I feel like I'm fairly well calibrated. There are lots of things about every startup that are similar. Building product, building MVP, finding product market fit, making sure that it's real product market fit and not just sort of fool's gold of super early adopters, crafting the right messaging, finding the ideal customer profiles, like many, many things that come into it that we sort of do naturally because we know how to do that. But yet each one of them is different. And this one is extraordinarily profoundly exciting because of the scale of what you can do with this. Again, the heavy lifting for all of this is done by the intelligence layer. And because we now have access to the intelligence layer, and now we've built this application layer that enables non-technical people to show up and spend a few minutes and build incredible applications because of the intelligence layer. Well, that has never existed before. Right? Those capabilities just weren't available to enable so many different people to be able to now build countless things. And so every single day, we're still blowing our own minds with the implications of this. And as we watch what people are creating, it's just extraordinarily inspiring. And so, I've been fortunate that I've always worked on things that I'm interested in, I'm curious about. And so all of these startups to me have been exciting in their own ways. But this one is on these mega steroids of what this could do. It fits into everything. It allows you to solve problems in the workplace. It allows you to solve problems in consumer space, in your personal life, in other people's personal lives. Again, because it only takes 5 minutes to build a product that can transform someone's life, you can do it and give it to them as a gift. That has never existed before. Even if you were the most amazing developer in the world, before this AI capabilities, you'd have to spend, weeks, at least days, developing something valuable that you could give to a friend. Well, that doesn't scale, right? So this one is different.
Amazing. I mean, I haven't seen you before, Dmitry. I haven't seen you at other companies, but the energy that I get from you and the energy I feel for this product, certainly backs that up. It's really,
by the
really
way, I see some people asking for a demo of the Art of War. You don't need to have my demo. This stuff is published. If you just go to UAI Explore Apps, there's a search at the top left and just search for the Art of War. I've done that demo many times, and so I think I've published many instances of the Art of War. So you'll find some instances and you can chat with it. Or even better, go and find the Art of War or any other book that's in the public domain. So just Google public domain books, download it, and go create your own AI and give it your own instructions. And again, you can do it in a few minutes. There's tutorial on our YouTube channel on how to build a book AI, if you guys don't remember the steps I took. And go play around with it. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a book. It could be your own documents.
Yeah.
And then you know exactly what's in it and query it and all of that. So you guys can play around with this.
Amazing. I've seen quite a few questions about training. So you mentioned that you've got training on your YouTube channel there. I've had a look. It's really, really in depth. So anyone who's a little bit nervous about diving in, make sure you get another tab up with those YouTube trainings in. And yes, a link will be available to this on this recording. We'll be putting this out on YouTube and LinkedIn and other places. Right, we've got 6 minutes, Dmitry. Let's fire through some questions. One I've seen pop up quite a lot in different ways is all about data, privacy, security. I'm sure you get one on that one a lot. So do you want to fire on that?
Yeah, really important. Again, especially because this stuff is being used inside of enterprises. One of the people that I talked to on my, again, video podcast that you can find on the YouTube channel is using it inside of a cybersecurity company, and they're using it internally in their teams, and so they really care about security. So let me tell you about that. So all data that you upload and again, that then gets transformed into vectors, is encrypted, obviously, in our cloud, and then transformed into vectors and stored in a well-protected vector database. So nobody has access to that data on our team, nor will they ever have access to that data. No human will have access to that data. That data is used during inference when the AI is operating and talking to the intelligence layer, whether it be, again, today, these language models or diffusion models or other things. In that transport, the data is encrypted because all transport these days on the internet is encrypted, and also because we're using the APIs of OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta, etc. They state very clearly in their terms of service that the data that is transferred via APIs is not used to train their models.
Okay.
Okay. And so people should feel really, really comfortable that the weakest link of their data is actually their personal computer. There's a higher chance of their personal computer getting compromised than any of these cloud services that are involved here.
Amazing. Thank you. We've got a question from Stephanie here about a community or people that lead workshops. I know it's something that we've talked a little bit in the past about, Dmitry. I know you're building something here, but in the short term, what is the best place for people to keep updated on developments of MindStudio? Is it your LinkedIn account, company newsletter? Where should people?
We have a very active Discord server.
Okay.
So you can go find it in our footer and join that, please. We are there. Our team is there all the time. We're actually across multiple continents, and so we support across all the time zones. Please, I don't know how many people are on this thing. It might be difficult for them to friend me on LinkedIn, but you can certainly follow me. And I am very active there and post a lot about what's happening here. We also have intercom for support on premium tiers. So for those that join those tiers, you can chat with us directly on that. There are a bunch of people in the community that can help you on Discord. And then again, once you guys get up to speed, then please participate and help other people get up to speed. There are already needs where companies reach out to us and ask us if we could build them AIs. We don't. So we just tell them to go into the Discord server and ask there. There are companies, organizations that are asking for deeper training. So I know of people that are developing courses right now on MindStudio. So anybody who's a content producer here or wants to be a content producer, we do encourage you to start producing content about MindStudio, whether it's training or use cases or whatever else it is, because there is a demand for it, and the demand is growing. And there's actually very little content right now. Even though I appreciate the compliment on our YouTube channel, and we try, and we're going to have much more, but there's a need for radically more, and we need help, and all of you guys could help us do that.
Amazing. Lots of people in the comments saying they'd love to help. So yeah, make sure you hit up Dmitry. You can see his name here on the just below his face. So grab that, follow him on LinkedIn, send him a message, and yeah, it'd be great to have the community more involved. Dmitry, it's been a pleasure having you. I think Matt is going to have a good night's sleep tonight after this. Anything you want to sign off with to let people know about MindStudio?
I'm going to sign off with an apology. Matt, I'm not sure you're going to sleep well tonight. And be careful, because again, once you learn to use the hammer, you start to your mind starts racing of all the things you can do, and then you start feeling frustrated that there's not enough hours in the day to do all the things you want to do. And so I warn people about playing around with this too much, because that could happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to Jessica, again, from Academic Insights Lab that I interviewed, or Michael. So that's my warning to all of you.
Amazing. Well, as Matt said at the start, he writes the MindStream newsletter every day. And tomorrow I'm going to get him to write a feature about how bad he slept and how much time he spent down the MindStudio rabbit hole. So yeah, MindStream.NEWS if you want to check that out. and it's uai.ai, right, Dmitry?
uai.ai or MindStudio.ai. Both of those work.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Dmitry.
Thanks so much. Great to see you guys. Thank you.
And thanks to everyone watching. We'll see you soon.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.